Hey everyone, this is Teresa from Base 10 Montessori, and today I want to go over a quick phonics lesson. Today I want to talk about teaching the difference between the sound for R and the sound for in your phonics lessons. The letter R is very complicated, and in fact it has three different uses when we're teaching phonics. The first one is the phoneme for the letter R. The second part is teaching the phonogram for the letter R, which are R-controlled vowels. And then we have our consonant blends. And I'll get to that towards the end of the video. Now the letter R is complicated. And what I've discovered is that most teachers mistakenly give this sound as And in fact, it's going to create some problems for teaching the sound later on as a phonogram. So today I want to give you a quick tip on how to introduce the sound R in your classroom. When it comes to teaching the sound for R, you want to give it more of a R sound. Now, I am from the Midwest, so there might be some differences in dialect, and that's okay. The important thing to remember is that you don't want to emphasize the I sound. You really want to make it as simple as possible. R, r, r. For example, it's not an rabbit, it's a rabbit. It's not an reindeer, it's a reindeer. It's not an race, it's a race, or rake. Hopefully you can hear the difference in what I'm saying here. It's not an sound, it's more of a sound. Now you might have a little bit different sound to your R depending on where you're located, and that's okay. But what I want you to think about here is think about those words we just went over: rabbit, reindeer, race, rake. Think about how you say it. Think about how you isolate that first sound. And if it's a little bit different than me, that's okay. The most important point is that it is not an sound. So let's talk a little bit about the phonograms, the R-controlled vowels, or as I like to call them, the bossy R's. So the most common sounds for the R-controlled vowels are R, or, and And can be spelled several different ways, and we'll go over that in just a little bit. But when we're introducing the phonograms, we want to make sure that they are different from the letter R. These are special because when they are combined with a vowel, it changes the sound. So if you introduce the letter R, the phoneme R, as an sound, and don't make any difference between the R-controlled vowel and the phoneme of R, it's going to make your phonics lessons more complicated. There is a purpose why we combine the letter R with vowels to make the sound. And that doesn't happen when R stands on its own. So we really need to be articulate and really think about how we're introducing the letter R to begin with, and then make that differentiation as we go into those phonograms. Here is a list of the R-controlled vowels. And not only is this a list of the R-control vowels, but what I did is I put them in order from most common to least common. So for instance, let's take a look at that sound again. So when we're introducing the most common way to spell it is ER, and so that comes first. Then the next is UR, then IR, and then OR, AR, EAR, OUR, and last of all, WOR would make the WR sound, as in work. And that would be the least common way. So when you see my list, it's going to go from most common to least common uses for spelling the sound. And I also have a list for or, are, air, ear, ire, and your. So I have this list order, and don't worry, if you want this list order, I will make it available to you, and I'll show you that at the very end. This is the list of consonant blends, and they don't change the sound, but we usually teach these together so that you can group the sounds together a little faster. It just makes it a little easier for the child to learn to read when you can chunk these letters together. So for instance, br, cr, dr, and we're making that r sound again, right? We're not doing brr or cr or dr. So it'd be dr as in dress. So that R sound really is important, especially when we go back to our consonant blends. It's not a dr-s, it's a dress. And it's not a ter-e, it's a tree. So really think about how you're pronouncing that letter R, how you're introducing it on its own, independent of those phonograms, of those our controlled vowels, because there is a difference and we want to isolate that difference and we want to introduce that difference. When we go back to our phonograms and we start introducing our phonograms, when we start introducing our controlled vowels, we're going to teach that there is a difference, and there's a rule for this. There's a rule for why this sounds different. It's because we've added a vowel to it. Now, if you like this information and you want to have a cheat sheet of all of this, I've made one for you, and it's over on my locals page. So let's head over to montessoriforeveryone.locals.com. So here we are over on my locals page, and as you can see, I have an orthography and phonology chart for the letter R. And if you scroll down, you can click on the PDF, and it comes up. And right here, phonology and orthography for R. So I've included the phoneme sound for the letter R and a little bit of information below that. And I've included the phonogram for the letter R. So I have these R-controlled vowels, or bossy R as I like to call it. And right here, if you want to know the order for how we do the R-controlled vowels, I've listed the order right here. These are all the R-controlled vowels and the order that they go in from most common to least common. So that way, if you want to make lesson plans, you know what to introduce first, what's most important to introduce first. And then at the bottom, I have included a list of the consonant blends. So that way, if you want to do some controlled readings, if you want to do some lessons on how to group these sounds together, just to make it a little bit easier, a little bit more convenient for the child for reading, these are the ones you can focus on. And again, we're going to focus on most common to least common. Hopefully you like what I've done here. Hopefully this helps with your phonics program. I hope you liked the tip. If you did, give me a thumbs up and don't forget to comment below, and I will see you in the next video.